Look at any crowd on Earth and you will see something strange. One kind of animal, same bones, same blood, same basic brain, same old family tree, but skin that goes from very dark brown to very pale pink. For thousands of years, people explained that difference in the worst ways possible. They turned it into stories, then groups, then empires, then race. They acted like skin color was proof that people were split into different types of humans. But science tells a very different story. Skin color was never proof that humans were different from each other, and it was never really about the labels people use today. It was about a problem every human body had to fix, a problem coming from the sky. The strange part is that the same thing that kept humans alive was also trying to hurt them, and over thousands of generations, your ancestors' bodies had to find a balance. Block too much of it and you die one way. Let too much of it in and you die another. So why did humans become different colors? The answer starts long before countries, borders, or races. It starts in Africa, with a small, bare, sweating ape standing under a blazing hot sun. For most animals, skin color is not the first line of defense. Fur is. Fur is shade. Fur is armor. Fur blocks sunlight before it ever touches the skin. But our ancestors did something risky. They lost most of their fur. Exactly when it happened is still being figured out, but the main explanation is heat. An animal covered in fur gets too hot very quickly when it runs in open sunlight. An animal that is mostly hairless and can sweat has a strange advantage. It can keep moving. It can walk for hours, run for hours, chase animals across hot open land, while other hunters have to stop and cool down. Sweat works best on bare skin, so early humans traded fur for staying cool, but that trade created a new problem, because once the fur was gone, the sky could touch the body directly, and near the equator, sunlight is not soft or gentle. It carries ultraviolet radiation. UV light is strong enough to burn skin, strong enough to damage DNA, strong enough to break down important things inside the body. One of those things is folate. Folate is a B vitamin. Your body needs to make new cells, fix DNA, support healthy sperm, and support early pregnancy. If too much UV breaks down folate, having babies becomes harder. And in nature, having babies is not a small detail. It is the test everything has to pass. A body can be strong, fast, smart, and perfectly built in every other way. But if it cannot successfully have children, nature does not keep that body type for long. So as early humans lived under intense tropical sunlight, nature started to favor bodies that could protect folate. That protection came from melanin. Melanin is the pigment that gives skin its color, but it is not just color. It is a natural shield. It soaks up and scatters ultraviolet radiation before that radiation can do too much damage. The more dark melanin your skin makes, the better protected you are under strong sunlight. This is why people whose ancestors lived for long periods near the equator tend to have darker skin. Not because they are a different kind of human, but because their ancestors lived under stronger UV. Dark skin was not just about looks, it was about survival. It was nature's first sunscreen, but then humans moved. Slowly, over tens of thousands of years, groups of people spread out of Africa. They crossed deserts, followed coastlines, moved through forests, reached cold flatlands, cloudy islands, mountains, and northern skies. And the farther some groups moved from the equator, the problem changed. The danger was no longer just too much sunlight, it was too little. More specifically, too little UVB. UVB is the part of sunlight your body uses to make vitamin D, and vitamin D is very important. Your body uses it to take in calcium, build bones, support your immune system, and keep your body working normally. Without enough vitamin D, children can get rickets, a sickness where bones become soft and bent. Pregnancy becomes riskier, bones become weaker, and staying alive becomes harder. So now human skin faced the opposite problem. Dark skin worked great under powerful tropical sunlight, but in places where the sun was weak for most of the year, too much melanin could block the small amount of UVB the body needed. So in places with low UV, nature started to favor lighter skin. Less melanin meant more UVB could get into the skin. More UVB meant more vitamin D. More vitamin D meant stronger bones and better chances of staying alive. This is the part most people get wrong. Light skin did not grow because cold places are cold. Cold does not make skin lighter. Sunlight does. The real map is not temperature. It is ultraviolet radiation. That is why human skin color follows sunlight better than it follows heat. But the story is still not as simple as dark near the equator and light in the north. Because humans are complicated, migration is complicated, diet is complicated, history is complicated. Some people living in the Arctic, for example, did not become very pale even though they lived far north. Why? Because many of them traditionally ate lots of fish and sea animals. Those foods contain vitamin D. If your food gives you vitamin D, your skin does not need to let in as much weak northern sunlight, so diet can change what the body needs from skin color. That is why there is no perfect skin color chart. There are patterns, but not clean, simple boxes. And this is where the idea of race starts to fall apart, because skin color changes little by little across the world. It does not split humans into neat groups. There is no sharp line where one type of human ends and another begins. There are just groups of people whose ancestors adapted to different amounts of sunlight, then mixed with other groups, moved again, and adapted again. If you walked from Central Africa northward thousands of years ago, you would not cross a magic border where humans suddenly changed. You would see slow shifts, different bodies shaped by sunlight, food, movement, and chance. Human differences are real, but the boxes people built around them are mostly made up. Skin color became one of the most visible human differences, so societies gave it meaning, then they gave it ranking, then they gave it violence. But nature never said any of that. Nature was just solving a chemistry problem. How do you block enough sunlight to protect folate, but let in enough sunlight to make vitamin D? That is the whole puzzle. Too much UV and you need more melanin. Too little UV and too much melanin can become a problem. Human skin color is the middle ground, a moving balance between protection and production, between blocking the sun and using it. And the strangest part is that this balance developed more than once. Lighter skin in Europe and lighter skin in parts of East Asia did not come from exactly the same genetic changes. Nature found similar answers using different tools. That means there was no single moment when humans became white, and no single moment when humans became black. Those are modern words for a much older, slower process. The first humans were almost certainly darker skinned than many people alive today, because our kind evolved in Africa under strong ultraviolet radiation. But even that has to be said carefully. They were not black in the way we use that word today socially. They were ancient humans with skin built for strong sunlight. The labels came later. Much later. The science came first. Think of the sun as a problem with two dangers. If it gets too deep into your skin, it can damage folate and DNA. If it does not get in enough, you cannot make enough vitamin D. Melanin is the dial. Turn it up where UV is intense. Turn it down where UV is weak. Not because one skin color is better, but because different places ask different things from the body. That is why no human skin color is the original perfect version. Every shade is a solution. Dark skin is not old-fashioned. Light skin is not more advanced. Brown skin is not unfinished. They are all records of survival. But then the modern world broke the old rules. Today, people move across the planet in hours. A person whose ancestors adapted to weak northern sunlight can live under harsh equatorial sun. A person whose ancestors adapted to strong tropical UV can live in a cloudy northern city. Your skin still carries the story of old sunlight, but your life may happen under a completely different sky. Our bodies were shaped by the places we came from. Our lives are no longer stuck in those places, and maybe that is the most important part of the story. Skin color feels permanent. It feels like identity, family, history, something you are born with and carry everywhere. And it is. But it is also evidence of movement. Your skin is not just the color of your body, it is the shadow of ancient journeys. It is the trace of deserts crossed, coastlines followed, winters survived, and sunlight absorbed by people whose names are lost. People who never knew they were shaping the face of humanity. They were just trying to live long enough to have children. And over thousands of generations, the sun wrote itself into their skin. So why did humans become different colors? Because we left one place and tried to survive in many. Because the same star that gave us life also threatened to hurt us. Because nature had to solve two opposite problems at the same time. Protect the body from sunlight and let sunlight in. That is all. Skin color is not a ranking, not a border, not proof that humans are separate. It is proof that humans are one kind of species, flexible enough to survive almost anywhere. A species that began under the African sun, spread across the planet, and carried the memory of those skies on its skin. Every shade is a survival story, every color is a map, and every human alive today is walking around with a little piece of ancient sunlight written on their body. Your body is carrying a much older story than you think, and that story did not end in the past. If you want more videos like this, subscribe now. There is a lot more buried in being human.